So I bought these informal white collars that are very, I bought the biggest size available in antique collars, in that sense that I trust, and has the original starch and great condition, because the collars of these shirts I just talked about are very large. One of them is even a 17, so I had to buy a 17.5 collar. Whereas my actual, ideally I like to wear a 16 collar. I could wear it now, but it would be very uncomfortable. So this is the reason for these are both are 16. This is very small, but I purchased it for the value of it, not too well. So these are very tightly packed, even more so. Of them. I tried dating them, they are also British and all like that. So these are two colours. I remember purchasing 3, but I may be wrong there, or perhaps my sister forgot one. But I think I only purchased 2 then. So these are, if anything, as stiff as these, but less shiny, because again done in the British mill. And these are new cotton. So this says cotton. Alright, so oh yes, this one is a bit older. This one I will first examine. This one is probably older. This is a bit rare. This is a real collar. So there's all the... Okay, this is a very large one, 17.5. This is very large for my neck. And this is for the shell that has a 17 collar. But this is still brand new from the factory, although it is old, has never been worn. Although there are markings inside, no factory marking, only a stamp that was usually done to the left of the side, 17.5. And the brand there, real collar. So also I know this is newer, just by knowing that before, so they not really put brands. Before, people bought, because there was less of a mass production and usually people had less money, and they wore the Detachable-Collars way more, and they did not last long, as I said. They would, even then the fabric ones would not last long. They would buy them in boxes like these. Like these original, that came in the original box, these French ones. And they might be, I think this came in 3. They came in at least 3, sometimes up to 10. Depending on how much money, how much you wanted. And then later on, after 1920, they started selling them in, this is not the original plastic containers, but plastic or these paper containers, 1-on-1 if you wanted, which was more of a waste of money on the long term, but people wore them less, had more money to spend, to care less. And thus, it was more practical to put the stamp there because the paper wrapping could easily be lost or whatever. Whereas before, they would put all the markings and everything about that color on the stamp there. So, when the markings are inside, in all likelihood, if it is colored from a factory and there's only a size stamp like on these, it means prior to 1920. Otherwise it means after 1920 if there are. Like on that one, there's not only the size there, but also the horseshoe quality, which signifies that it is very strong. It's not that, because it is made out of cotton. And then the brand collar, Reggie Mark. Sorry, Reggie Trade. Is a diminutive for registration, trademark, registered trademark, I mean. And see, this is not super heavily starched, which is real for British color, but this is linen. Yeah, this is probably older than the other one, which is thicker and says 100% says cotton. So this is probably, I would say, 1930s. The tongue also is clearly from, no, the tongue is a very similar shape, but not exactly the same, so they have a thicker tongue there, because also it is for a thicker neck, much thicker neck. It has a shine, so clearly on the British made. It's very soft though, kind of like that one, so I guess it is linen. Perhaps, I guess this is pure linen. If anything, there's probably more linen or finer linen, higher quality linen than in these, because it is so soft to the touch. Especially than that one is not so soft. That one kind of is. This one is super soft, like that one. Actually, so I guess this is but it's not super heavily starched. So it has some flexibility, like the French ones. If anything, more. But again, the French ones are more compact, higher, so it is easier to keep shape and to look denser. So I guess this is from after 1920, probably not after 1930, probably not. Otherwise, it would be in cotton. Also, this is a typical 1930s shape. See the tongue is like, so the shape, the band is not so high as these, but not so low as ones afterwards. Like this one is newer. You can see the band is even shorter, but the collar is clearly more of that newer British style, which is cutaway, actually more like an Edwardian one, but it's more cutaway than an Edwardian one. Look, this is the Edwardian one, or late 1910s one, and this is probably a 1940s one. And see what I mean? Kind of the same shape of leaf that extends as much past the bend, except that is more cutaway. They had some like that even in the 1880s or at least 90s, but they were more rare. Usually they were more like that, especially in the 1910s. But by the 1930s, this had actually become uncommon, especially like that. In the 1930s, people will know they had a smaller band, a lower band, not as low as later in the 1940s and until today, but lower than it had in the 1880s, or especially 90s, early 1900s and 1910s. Like here, slightly lower band. Actually, the band is even lower than on that one, although the dimensions would suggest if they wanted it to have the same style as being higher, since this is clearly a much bigger size. This is a 1.5 inches larger. All these little details help me to date the colors here. All these little details put together give a high probability of when the color was actually manufactured. Because also the packaging is gone. I don't know the color also I think did not exist before 1910. But we narrowed it down. Also, but by the leaf actually extends. The leaf extends. This is the tongue. The leaf clearly extends the button like so. It will look like that once buttoned. So the leaf has a typical 1930s look. You know that it is a straight dead with a high drop in ratio in the front, a sharp cutaway towards the back, and it extends far out, more than 1 inch after the bend. And the bend is high, but only a tad high, not as high as it used to be, the band itself of the collar. And it is also made out of, stiff linen, so in a sense they had kept the tradition of making it out of linen, which would not last as long, would be more expensive, would not be as thick or as hard and stiff, but would be softer to the touch, more luxurious and would look more like a celluloid one, be more shinier. This is more recent, this is way more recent. Oh, this is super shiny actually. And it says cotton, but this is a very, cotton merino, this is a very high quality Egyptian cotton to get it that shiny. This is, by George, this is the shiniest color after the French ones from the 90s. This is even shinier, if anything. This is literally glossed. It looks like a celluloid color. But I can't really it's kind of like the celluloid color. If you cannot see it, it's hard to see because the celluloid color is obviously blue. And also this is cotton, pure cotton, it says there. This is like the Barker's one. They had it was made by Barker. They said this was much more recent. This is not even 1940s. This is like 1980s, 70s, 60s. When they made them out of Egyptian cotton because you can get that stiffer look. Compare them. Although there's clearly, this is also a smaller size. What size is this? This is 19. What? No, this is not. This is 17. This or 43 centimeters. It says there. Also, if it gave the size in centimeters, it means that there's a level. For British collar, which clearly is, it says made in England, it means that it's clearly afterwards. Because back in the 1940s, even 50s, they would never give a size in centimeters for a British-made garment, or even an American one. It was when they started introducing the metric system in Britain. So this is, I would say, is not before 1960s, or even afterwards, 1970s, 80s. Probably from the company that one still exists, It's only renamed their names because they came together or separated, but otherwise they're practically the same people, practically the same products, I'm thinking of mostly Barkers now, that make the collars, Lucas and all. This is a typical British, cutaway Aberdeen collar. It says the style there, Albany for number 5. Also the stems there are way more modern than these stamps, and especially in these Edwardian stamps, or even in the stamps, the factory stamps they had there are gone now, or extremely more modern than these colored Edwardian stamps. You'll compare these, probably dates from 1900, 1910 to today's probably 1930s, 40s max, but I would say not before late 20s because of the style of the color itself. And compare with this, these are practically just modern stamps. If you get detachable modern colors, then usually by either Brooks Brothers